Hello. I finally learned how to use my microphone and I want to talk about some books. So let's get into it. Well, not necessarily some books, it's a book in particular, and it is Darkest Descent. Check the trigger warnings. Y'all, before we go any further, check the trigger warning. I have to tread very lightly with the way that I speak about this book. I'm going to do my best not to spoil it, but I'm just going to say that there's spoilers in this video because I spoil every book I talk about. We follow twin siblings. Of course they're twin siblings. They're twins. So they're both in college. Alice and Archer. Alice and Archer have parents who don't really like them for real. They're like wealthy parents who never really paid attention to them growing up. One night, Alice gets kidnapped and thrown into a basement where she notices her brother Archer is down there as well. They call him Hunter. They never really say what his name is, like his actual name, but they're told to call him Hunter, so he's Hunter throughout the book. Well, fast forward, we're in the basement. Hunter is making Alice and Archer do a lot of crazy shit in this basement. A lot of it is sexual with each other. And in the process, he keeps looking at the ceiling and like talking to the light bulb. So Alice assumes that he's recording this or he's sending the videos to somebody. In the beginning of the book, we get a short-ish POV from he was a stalker at the time, but he's now the kidnapper, Hunter. He's explaining why he's watching the family so closely, but not in like great detail. We just know that he does not like their dad and his plan is to kidnap them to get some type of revenge on their dad. In the process of them doing this sexual crazy shit, Alice and Archer start to enjoy doing the crazy shit to each other. Check the trigger warnings. This is the checkpoint in the video to remind you to check the trigger warning. So this book screams Stockholm Syndrome because, like I said, they start to enjoy making out and doing lots of other stuff to each other. And then Hunter, for the most part, in the beginning, he was just watching or he was just making them do things, and then he starts to join in, and in the process of him joining in, he starts to have a crush, I guess, on Archer. Alice is very dominant, like she don't play them games, she fights back, but Archer is very timid and he doesn't fight back as much. He kind of like gets in his head where he blanks everything out and just kind of lets stuff happen to him. He's like on autopilot. We're gonna skip a little bit because honestly a lot of them being in the basement was that it was just him making them do a lot of crazy sexual things with each other, with him, but there's this like weird dynamic between them where like in their POVs they talk about how like attractive Hunter is, and Hunter will like caress them or like hug them, but then he will starve them for a few days. It was just a lot of back and forth of that. Check the trigger warnings. One day Hunter does a thing to Alice that involves needles, and a lot of needles. So when the needles get removed, he forgets one of the needles, and Alice hides the needle for later, and she starts planning their escape from Hunter. So I keep saying so. I have to stop doing that. I have to stop saying so every time I press record. After she gets the needle, she hides it. One day he decides that they are worthy of getting their own room. So he prepares to take them upstairs and shower them and let them sleep in the room. But again, they have this like affection towards each other, like a intimate affection, especially him and Archer. And Archer had never been with a man before. He said he had never thought about being with a man in like a romantic way, willingly. Keep that in mind. Mind you, they had the scene before this was a lot. So they're like covered in blood, covered in other bodily fluids, and he makes Alice clean her brother out so he could have him nice and clean. He doesn't care if his body's dirty as long as the hole is not dirty. Those are his words, not mine. They are in the room now. Like I said, it's this weird, like, they like each other. They all have a crush on each other, and Hunter and or Alice and Archer are siblings, but they have been in this dungeon together, being intimate and thoroughly enjoying it. Now they're enjoying interacting with Hunter, their kidnapper, and Alice takes the time that Hunter and Archer are solo doing it to attack. So she hits Hunter, doesn't work. She finally gets the best of him when Archer decides to finally get up and help, and she starts stabbing him in the eye with the needle. Archer finally gets his ass up, and he starts to stomp on Hunter's head, knocks him out cold. They're like, we got to get out of here. But Alice says, I need to know why he's been doing this. Like, to her, it didn't seem like he wanted to be doing it. If you ask me, he had a great time. But to her, she just saw something different in him, and he didn't want to do this. He was being forced. I need an explanation. So they knock him out. Well, he's knocked out. Then they tie him in the basement, and then they go shower and clean up and engage willingly this time, because they were kind of justifying what they were doing as it being forced, but this time they were doing it because they wanted to. So after some time, Hunter is tied up in the basement. He finally wakes up, and he's like very excited. He's so proud of them for like overpowering him and getting him tied up. He's excited. He's talking in his POV, because he has a POV. He has as much of a POV as everybody else, which again, I thoroughly enjoy. I love the POV from the kidnappers. But in his POV, he's saying like, they look so beautiful. I'm so proud of them, yada, yada, yada. Then he starts to explain why he was doing this. And come to find out, Hunter is their brother as well. So, triple the incest. Hunter explains that when he was 5, the twins were born, and their dad just kind of started hating him. His mom was trafficked and killed. They're going to flag this video. This video is going to get flagged. It's fine. Well, after we found out about his mom, we found out more details about what the dad had did to him from when he was 5 until he was 22. The dad had him in a basement as well, but he had him in the basement of a warehouse. And the twins' mom knew that he was in this basement for years. The dad waited until he turned 18 to start assaulting him as well. He, growing up, or throughout that time though, he would have other men come in and like pay him to like beat on Hunter, but he never really said anything other than beating, if I'm not mistaken. But years of this from their dad. First, Alice is very apprehensive. She doesn't know whether or not to believe Hunter, because she's just thinking that he's making excuses for what he did to them. But a part of her still does believe him, because like I said, they're in love at this point. All three of them in love with each other. He starts to explain that all of the things that he did to them, the dad had done to him when he was growing up. So he was recording it to show the dad, and the dad did not care. The dad told him, keep one, return the other. I don't care which one you keep, just return one of them. You don't need both. And the twins were like, no, he didn't say that. After Hunter's explaining what happened to him, and you know, they're kind of going back and forth about not believing it, it's almost confirmed. Well, we know what happened, but it was confirmed through Archer, because Archer told them that the dad was doing the exact same thing to him when he turned 18, the dad started to assault him as well. After Hunter and Archer explained what the dad had been doing to them and how like similar what was going on was between them, they take Hunter off of the rope and they have this intimate moment where they're hugging and kissing and I'm so sorry it's happened to you, yada yada yada. Keep in mind, the person you're cuddling up with kidnapped you and your twin brother and made y'all. So whatever. Hunter then shows them video and audio, or I think it was just mostly audio, of the dad saying how much he does not care about the twins and you can have them, I don't care, this is not bothering me, showing them all of the evidence. And in one of the videos, the dad only got mad when he could tell that Archer liked Hunter, because in Hunter's words, the dad could never have Archer the way that he has Archer. Keep in mind, Archer is his brother. Moving along. They start to come up with a plan to do to the dad what the dad did to the boys growing up. The dad never did anything to Alice other than just being like cold and mean to her. He didn't really do anything to her other than that, but he did a lot to the boys. And of course, Alice is like, yeah, we about to get this nigga. The first step of the plan is to get the dad to believe that the twins are no longer with us so they can like ambush him later. And Hunter FaceTimes the dad after having drugged Alice and Archer and have them like laid out in the basement. When he FaceTimes him, the dad does not believe him. So he starts to assault Alice and Archer. And he tells the dad that he has to watch or he's going to like expose his entire career or his entire life. And so the dad watches and he's just like screaming and yelling in the phone, and Hunter hangs up. Archer is very aware of what Hunter's doing, and his feelings are hurt because he feels like Hunter assaulted him, even though Hunter has literally been assaulting you this entire book. Hunter feels really bad that he assaulted the twins again because he was trying to prove something to the dad, and the twins kind of come to, but they don't really know. Well, Alice doesn't really know what happened. Archer knows what happened, and he feels a way about it, but he's kind of like accepting it a little bit. They notice how upset Hunter is and let him have his moment in the basement. They go upstairs, they shower, and they kind of wait around for him to come back up, but he doesn't come back upstairs. So they go downstairs to the basement to find him hanging from the ceiling. So they catch him just in time. He's fine. We wait about 2 weeks till he's like healed, and it's time to start their plan to get their dad back, or continue their plan to get their dad back. So they go meet with some people that Hunter knows, because Hunter is pretty much non-existent at this point. He's not like a real person to anybody. So he lives a very sketchy life, and he knows a lot of people with a lot of access to a lot of things, and he gets those things, and they go to their parents' house. So when they finally get to the parents' house, the parents sleep in separate rooms. So Hunter goes to take care of the mom. The mom is just as terrible, because you knew a little boy was tied up in your basement and did nothing about it for years. So she got to go too. And now we're in the dad's room. Alice had placed some bombs around the house, and there was a timer on them, and Hunter tells them that they have about an hour and 30 minutes. So they start to go in on the dad. I mean, I can't, like, I've already done too much explaining up here. Just know they took parts of his body, toes, fingers, and stuffed it inside of another part of his body. And I'm not talking about his mouth. They take the dad's eyes from him at some point, and they start to like talk to him to make sure he can still hear. And when they notice that he can still hear, they start to do things around the dad with each other so that he knows, in their words, that he didn't break them, and that in the process of him trying to ruin them, that they found love within each other. They're siblings. The man that is in the bed that they are torturing is all three of their father. And they're kissing on top of his bleeding body. They blow the house up. They get out in time, blow the house up, and they drive a little bit far to where they can still see the house in the distance, but not too much. And Archer is like a little distraught, more than Alice and Hunter. And they start to talk to him, and he's pretty much like, I feel crazy because I don't feel bad for doing what we just did. And they start to make out and make everybody feel better. They do a lot more than make out in a strange parking lot, but I mean, they've done worse. So we fast forward about 5 years, and Archer is telling us about their new life. And they took enough money out of the dad's house, and Hunter had already had a good amount of money for them to live off of. And now they bounce from place to place, trying to figure out where they fit best, where people didn't know them, where Archer and Alice didn't get mistaken for siblings because they are siblings. They are twins, so they look alike. And that's pretty much it. They live happily ever after, all three of them. That's the end of the book. All in all, I enjoyed the book. I'm not usually into like really gory books, but I didn't mind it. It wasn't bad. I have read a little bit of everything, so the incest part did not bother me, but I could see how it bothers somebody. So again, check the trigger warnings, my love. Don't listen to me. Check the trigger warnings. That was my breakdown of Darkest Descent. I will say I have a thing for books that are willing to do too much in like a good way, and I feel like this one did that. It's a lot when you think about like the bare bones of the book is that they're twins going through a traumatic experience. But I did like the book. I give it a 4. I give it 4 stars. I thank you so much for listening to me talk about absolutely nothing. And I love you back.